Need Pokemon Go PvP coaching? Well, I'm on Metafy. So click the link in the video description and it'll take you right to my page. What's up, guys? I've got a very exciting team today. We got a triple V team, but before we get into it, shout out to my Patreon supporters. I could not be doing this without you guys. But yeah, let's get right into this gameplay video. While I explain what's going on, this is actually one of the hypest teams I've ever created, I think. Jungle Cup has been going insanely well for me after a little bit of a rocky start. We've got Vigoroth, Shadow Venomoth, and Shadow Venonat in a bit of an ABB line, as you might guess in this case. Goal here was to kind of destroy all these double poison teams that are hopping around. There's not really too many dark types in this cup because Cottonee has scared them away. So Shadow Venomoth and Venonat can actually get quite a bit of neutral damage in through this meta. The main problem for these two is going to be the flyers, so you can take them out faster than Confusion can take the flyers out. And G-Fisk, steel type, right? That resists those confusions. Either way, swapping Shadow Venomoth in should draw out whichever one of those two, and Vigoroth should be able to take out the rest. I know Vigoroth doesn't have the best matchup versus flyers, but it has a pretty neutral matchup versus every flyer. It's a good matchup versus Skarmory, so Skarmory is the main one you need to worry about anyways. With your backline, you can kind of confusion through a Ducklet anyways, and we kind of have a nice wholesome team today too. We've got Venomoth and Venonat. That's a mother-son duo or a father-son duo. I'm not really sure what gender my moths are, but we have a Cottonee lead, so I'm gonna swap out right away. I missed my button there, but I did try and swap it right away, and here we have a Pyroar, so kind of scary. Almost did not get to a move, but if they don't shield, Venomoth wins the 0 shield versus Pyroar, so just a little good thing to know here. That's the other thing. You want to draw the fires in the back, but honestly, I have not seen any fires since the beginning. They come in with Shadow Stunky, so this is a bit scary, right? Because Vigoroth is going to have some troubles taking down this poison Pokemon. And then it's also going to be able to take down Venomoth, or Venonat here too. So, like I said, dark types aren't common, but if you do run into them, it's a rough time, and that'll be one of the few losses I think that we'll see today. So Pikachu Libre gonna swap here, start applying this fast move pressure to this really squishy Pikachu. In this case, I do have to shield, and they swap out. I would have thrown my Poison Fang there because they would have been able to force 2 shields on me. Pikachu Libre does get to his moves pretty quick, but able to get the defense drop, and then another Poison Fang here. Just keep throwing those Poison Fangs on Venomoth. Also, let's talk about movesets for a bit. I still only have one move on Vigoroth. I only have one move on Venomoth, and I really have only used one move on Shadow Venonat. The only reason I had the second move on Shadow Venonat was from the previous little cup where I needed Signal Beam for the Bronzor matchup. In this case, we're going to swap and catch a Flying Press immediately. This is actually a hype play on Venonat, which means I can save this shield and try and take down this Shadow Golbat at the very end. This Poison Fang will allow Vigoroth to deal a little bit more damage here, and I do have a shield anyways, so I don't mind shielding up a Poison Fang if I absolutely need to. So I just shield the first one. I have no idea how much damage this does off of a Shadow Golbat. And then Pikachu Libre comes in, and it's obviously not getting to another move versus the fast move pressure that Vigoroth puts out. All these fast moves on this team put out 4 damage per turn, and they also generate at least 3 energy per turn. So for those of you who hate Razor Leaf, this is a higher skill version of that. So Venonat, I'm going to swap right to my Venomoth. This matchup is not great for either Pokemon. You get taken out really quick. It looks like someone else is using that Venonat Vigoroth core. I'm going to throw this Poison Fang out, and guess what? If they don't shield, you have the potential to take them down, but they did sneak a move through, so they're going to get the Body Slam off there. I have recently taken down a Vigoroth that swapped in and caught the confusion damage, I guess, and they were not able to get to a move. This Venonat, unfortunately, is able to get to a move by taking down my Venomoth, and I have to decide which Pokemon to come in on. I'm going to come in on Venonat because I know I can tank this Poison Fang not too badly, but I will probably have to shield after this. Just kidding. Or switch after this. Just kidding, it's a Chansey. We're going to throw the Poison Fang and then swap out to Vigoroth, so just get that defense drop. And yeah, they know it's all over. Chansey takes a while to take down. It is kind of tough for this team depending on how it's lined up, just because it can kind of actually pound down Shadow Venomoth before the Poison Fangs add up enough. Yeah, okay, Ducklet lead, this one's kind of important too. There are a lot of Ducklet leads. I go up to 6, go for the fast move denial. If they Bubble Beam, sure, I CMP tied it. but we're just going to keep going. They'll likely go to 8 and then bait with Bubble Beam, so we're not shielding anything on this Ducklet. If they Brave Bird, that's fine too. We can bring in the Venomoth or the Venonat. They're not going to get to another move versus it, so it's all about if they want to let it go down or not. In this case, get a little bit of an energy advantage on the Venonat. We're going to be able to Poison Fang the Scrafty. Even though it's a dark type, it's also fighting type, so these, like, look, that's a resisted confusion right there. I decide to farm all the way down. Once I've snuck this confusion through, I'd no longer have to throw my move. Even if they bait me, doesn't matter. Going to be able to take them down before they get to their next move. And then with one Pokemon left in the back, these Poison Fangs really add up. So we're going to Poison Fang here. Throw another Poison Fang, just for good measure. And then swap to Venomoth to let them know, hey, game's over, you don't need to play anymore. So, they quit. Venomoth comes and is like, don't you ever talk to me or my son ever again, and they just leave. So, guess what? This is also, that was an entire set. That was 4 wins, and that took 5 minutes of video time. That's crazy. These games are like half as long as Ultra League games. If you want fast games, fun games in Jungle Cup, this is definitely the team for you. Another Ducklet lead. Very important. This one is Water Gun, though. I think I see a couple Water Gun Ducklets in this set. Water Gun, you can probably swap right away. If you swap too slow, you're in some trouble, though. So, I swap too slow here, so I have to stay in. If they want to take me out, sure. They don't. The Bubble Beam, and we're going to swap right away. As soon as Bubble Beam comes out, you always swap. We're going to get to this Poison Fang, see if they want to actually shield it or not. They do. And now we have a 2 shield advantage. They're going to come into Swinub. Kind of scary having a Shadow Swinub get that kind of farm. But they don't have shields. So it is kind of all up to how I want to play this one. Usually I would not shield Vigoroth here, but they have potentially loaded Bubble Beam. So shielding here I think is pretty value, especially because I got my counter through. Because I will likely be able to make it to a Body Slam later on in the match at this point. So in comes Nidoran female. Not going to shield this. Ducklet is much scarier with its potential ability to Brave Bird. And yeah, we'll shield whatever's coming from this Ducklet. It's probably a Bubble Beam, but that's okay. I'm going to be able to take down the Ducklet with a farm down. And then, yeah, this would have been the only time to use Signal Beam, but honestly, double Poison Fang is probably just as good anyways. But they leave before I'm able to get the beam off. Alright, let's take a look at this lead. Vigoroth versus Dwebble. This is great. Well, it's not that great because I'm not a fighting type, so I don't resist the smackdowns, and Dwebble is incredible versus this backline. Vigoroth absolutely has to stay in. I'm just trying to get to Body Slams here. At this point, I do shield, because I figure I can get to another Body Slam and just farm down. And then I'm planning to swap out right into my Venomoth regardless. I have this Body Slam stored, so maybe it can help take out a G-Fisk later. If they do have a G-Fisk in the back, it's a Cottonee. So, Cottonee, exactly what you want to see. With Venomoth, it's a bit harder, because they can actually Charm through you. This one's actually Razor Leaf, so I'm a little bit lucky. I'm going to get to my second Poison Fang here. And they actually ICMP tie, so they're going to throw their move. You got No Shield Venomoth. And then I have some decisions to make. There's a couple ways I can play this. I can save my Body Slam for later, or I can use it now. I decide to farm down this Cottonee so I can get a Poison Fang off on the Skrelp. And this matchup is really, really good too. On Venomoth, you do have to shield. But on Venonat, I think it doesn't KO the Aqua Tail, the first Aqua Tail, so you can just farm down. So that's another thing. Venomoth, Venonat, very different in terms of bulk. And I personally was not very good at playing around that. Like if someone swapped in something that needed a bit more bulk, I would still swap in Venomoth for some reason. So I lag quite a bit off the start here. That's okay. I'm going to throw right away because of that. Because I think I'm a turn behind. So it doesn't matter if I fast move deny or not. We'll see if they Brave Bird. Last time they did, but most of the times, I think that might have been the only time I've ever been Brave Birded. So they Bubble Beam. This time I actually go for the next Body Slam. Because they didn't shield. Do I actually stay in here? Wow, I didn't know I played this differently. Okay, so now I actually swap out into the Venos at that point. But look, I have a shield advantage here, and they're probably not going to make it to another move. Shadow Venomoth is able to farm down the Ducklet, and now with the shield advantage, hopefully it can go ham on the back line. Swinub comes in. Gonna need to get this big Poison Fang off. And then they swap to Vigoroth. Gonna stay in to get to this Poison Fang. all important Poison Fang. This deals a ton of damage. Then we're going to switch because we have the potential to get farmed down here. Instead, we'll farm them down. I am going to just double shield Venonat here. Because Vigoroth's Body Slam is going to do much more than Swinub's moves. Not much more. Honestly, it's pretty close. With the Swinub back in, I'm going to just throw this Poison Fang. Hopefully this will allow me to either Confusion it down before it gets to a move, or my Venomoth will be able to. And hopefully Venonat actually survives this Body Slam. And we're able to take out the Swinub in one more Confusion. Yeah, no, this team is very fun. Very run and gun, very successful. I don't know if I mentioned this video yet, but I ended up on the leaderboards. I would have been much higher on the leaderboards if I'd stopped playing. I was 2 points away from Legend. This team is all sorts of good. Once again, a Water Gun Ducklet that I kind of didn't read in time, so instead we're going to throw this Body Slam. So Water Gun really hits pretty hard in this cup. Gonna no shield here. It's usually a Bubble Beam. At this point, I think it can just be a Bubble Beam. And then I'm going to swap to my Venomoth. I'm going to throw the Poison Fang. This is going like the exact same way as the other one, but they let it go down this time instead, which is fine with me. So this seems like the same team, Ducklet, Swinub. This time the Swinub does get to a move, but they throw right away, which means my Vigoroth can come in and try and farm it down, but it might get farmed down instead. So I will have to throw a Body Slam here. It looks like they have a Venonat or a Venomoth of their own, and it's going to be able to farm me down. A bit unfortunate, because it's going to be able to get off Poison Fang as well. I'm not going to shield it, because I realized that Poison Fang is going to deal a lot less damage than whatever Swinub has. I just have to win the race to getting farmed down here, and it's going to be extremely close. Oh, except they let that through. So, never mind. Not as close as it could have been. Going to be able to take them down before they need to get to the second Poison Fang. Or I need to get to the second Poison Fang. Yet another win for the Triple V line. Very good plays from my opponents. Still, oh, Altaria lead, this one's tough. So I started playing this one differently, because look how fast Venomoth goes down. Luckily they swap out here though. I now stay in with Vigoroth and just get one shield. Or throw a Body Slam and then switch. Because you're going to shield a Sky Attack on whatever Pokemon anyway, so it doesn't really matter at that point. And then consider swapping into Venonat instead of Venomoth too. In this case, Swinub throws the Icy Wind. Gonna be able to get that farm down. If Altaria comes back in, can throw the Body Slam and then switch. This Body Slam's debuffed though, so it's a low chance they actually just kidding, they shielded it. Venonat, quite a bit tankier than Venomoth. You can see he's not taking nearly as much damage. And in comes Ferrothorn. Oh, this game. Yeah, this game was very close. Obviously, triple hard counter team is not what you want to see, but look how much damage those Poison Fangs do. In this case, I'm going to no-shield the first one. I have no idea what they have, but I assume it's Mirror Shot just because it's a little cup, and Mirror Shot hurts. So I build up a little bit more, throw a good timing for my Poison Fang. And then they swap out. I'm going to Poison Fang the Altaria as well. And hopefully I can counter down the Altaria. Yeah, we're able to just barely take it down there. So a very close game. That was 3 hard counters. Right there. And we're going to end on a... Or not end, but we're going to finish this setup with a 5-0. Look at that. 2, 9, 6, 7. Probably only need a 4-1 to get to Legend at this point, right? That's only... How many points? 33 points for a 4-1. Very doable. We swap at the same time. And oh, this game is very funny. So, Drifloon versus Shadow Venomoth. This matchup is interesting. If they let the Poison Fang through, shield once and farm down. Very important here to keep switch advantage. Because usually whatever Drifloon is paired with, it's usually an AVB team. So you need to keep your Vigoroth away from whatever's in the back. In this case, Chinchou is in the front. Comes back in. Shadow Venomoth is just going to do its hardest. We get shields back. And we're going to come in with Vigoroth. At this point, I kind of predict my Vigoroth to be useless in the back. And I want to just have some play with Shadow Venonat. Gonna no shield Thunderbolt, which does a ton of damage, and then switch right away. And guess what? This is Drifblim, so they're running a family team too. It's Pillow Family versus Bug Family, and gonna shield up the Icy Wind. I actually lose CMP as Venonat to Drifblim, so it's the exact opposite of the Venomoth Drifloon matchup. In this case, that's okay though, because they have to throw to take out Venonat here. Otherwise, they're at risk of being farmed down. And guess what? Vigoroth does not get countered by Drifblim when Drifblim has like 2% HP. So, gonna be able to swing that energy back and forth forever, and Vigoroth is gonna be able to pull out the win right there with a well-timed body slam. But yeah, Balloon Hole, very funny to run into that. Running this, there's a lot of very cheesy ABB teams in Little Cup, and it's a lot of fun. So Skorupi lead, we're going to swap out right away, and here it is, the coveted G-Fisk. Everyone talks about this G-Fisk Pokemon being encountered to this team, and it is, but G-Fisk has kind of been a bit less common. But look at these confusions. They kind of really chunk. If they let me get to that Poison Fang, I can probably win back switch, but if they throw a Rock Slide, there's nothing I can do. Because I swapped right away, my Vigoroth is still healthy, so I can tank a Rock Slide or a Muddy Water or whatever. They Muddy Water and help me out a little bit, so I have a little bit more HP. In comes Skorupi, and because the switch timer's not back up yet, I'm going to have to throw a Body Slam, but I'm just waiting to get back in on my Venonat. Oh my god. Why did I build a team with all these same sounding Pokemon? I can't even say their names correctly. But in comes Vigoroth, and as long as it's not a G-Fisk, they can't be running double G-Fisk, so as long as it's not like G-Fisk Onyx or something like that, you usually have some pretty good play against whatever's in the back. Like I said, they will get to 2 Body Slams on Vigoroth, and Venomoth can't handle it, but Venonat might be able to tank one. It's very close. But either way, it's going to deal much more damage than Skorupi's moves. We're going to just get off these Poison Fangs, and yeah. That was a G-Fisk counter swap, by the way. So G-Fisk in the back, and somehow this team still wins. That's how ABB teams work. You don't have to worry about bad leads, you don't have to worry about bad switches. So Skorupi is one of the best counters for Vigoroth, and then G-Fisk is one of the best counters for Venomoth. Somehow this is still a win, right? So shows that you do have some play. Vigoroth lead, you're going to swap out right away. I think I test to see if I can survive a Body Slam here. No, I don't. I test it later, but you can't. In comes Shelmet, so Vigoroth, Shelmet. I was kind of thinking it was a G-Fisk in the back because that was the team that I put out that one time. But Venomoth actually has a decent matchup against Shelmet, especially with this energy advantage that this Vigoroth gave me. I'm going to no-shield this Body Slam because it's going to do way less than Vigoroth's Body Slams. And unfortunately, Shelmet's going to be able to take me out. I have a couple options here. I decided to go back in with the Vigoroth to tank the move, thinking that Venonat might have better play versus whatever else is in the back. And just hoping for no G-Fisk, even though that's the team. But it is Skorupi instead. So perfect. They're not running my team. They're running a double poison team. Just looks very similar. Gonna no shield the Venonat here. Aqua Tail does not hurt very much. And I wanted to get this Poison Fang off on this Vigoroth, because the Body Slam's going to hurt much more. I don't want to have to shield. So here we go, running double Poison Fang into the Vigoroth. And then in comes Skorupi. And I should be able to win this one with the shield. I'm going to shield now. Might have been safer to just save it for my Vigoroth, but Vigoroth is also decently healthy, so it can tank a move too. Yeah, Vigoroth's going to take down that Skorupi, no problem. Yeah, so notice that was a Vigoroth lead, a mirror lead. We swap out of those because we're running an ABB team. Oops. And next we have Stunfisk lead, so this is where you want to see it. In comes Ducklett though, so this makes this game actually really tough. If Stunfisk is with Ducklett, this is something that Vigoroth kind of needs to take care of, but at the same time, I need to save my Vigoroth for this G-Fisk. So I'm in a bit of a tough spot. They actually go for the Bubble Beam, which saves me a little bit. I'm not sure. They got a Wing Attack damage through on their own move against my Venomoth? That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know why that happened at all, but it could potentially cost me the game if they did shield there. Luckily they didn't, but unluckily it's Skarmory. So that's 3 Pokemon that beat Venonat and Venomoth. Yeah, you just lose those. There's not really anything you can do here. I try and stick it in because I know this is my legend game. If I win this, I'm probably legend. But at the same time, my Venonat cannot take out a G-Fisk and a Skarmory with a move loaded. There's just no way. So unfortunately, we're going to lose that game there. One last game, I believe. And it is a Skarmory lead. So Skarmory lead, same as the other Vigoroth team, but you kind of need to do the same thing. Or need to do a different thing. You need to take out the Skarmory, right? So we're going to fight for switch here. I'm going to throw up 5 so I don't have to take that extra air slash damage. Still take out the Skarmory, and then we're going to switch right away. They swap into their own Vigoroth. And I think this is where I test whether or not Venomoth can live, and it can't. Yeah. Learn the hard way, but the Sacrificial Moth comes in. I'm going to come in with my Venonat now instead of Vigoroth. I'm saving that Body Slam for later. I'm hoping that the Skarmory was really the only counter there to that team. In comes Wooper. These Poison Fangs are going to start to add up. Yeah, they're starting to shield already. They know they need this Wooper to get to some moves. Hopefully I can pry another shield off with this Poison Fang. They actually let it through. We're going to go in with the Body Slam just to force that last shield. And Wooper can't farm down Vigoroth, so it's okay. They have to throw their move and take out Vigoroth. And then Venonat will come in. Have to tank a Body Slam. This will be very close. If it was Shadow Wooper, I don't think Venonat lives. But able to just barely Confusion down the Vigoroth in the back and then throw this Poison Fang. This is now a 4-1. So 13 wins in 15 games for Venomoth with honestly only one charge move for each Pokemon. It's a pretty good team. But unfortunately, as you guys will see here, 2998. Just short, not quite legend. So I'll have to wait for later. I'm not in too big of a rush. Legend will happen eventually. But it would have been nice to hit it with this team. It's a lot of fun. Well, thanks for watching. This is probably the shortest video I'll ever make. The games were just so fast. But this team was very good. You just gotta watch out for people who know what your Venomoth is doing by switching in there and baiting out for the Venonat. But other than that, the team is very solid, very good in the double poison meta that I've been seeing a lot of recently. Pretty good against Connie in the back, which I've been seeing a lot of recently too. So overall, it's just a pretty solid team. But yeah, thanks for watching.